Greetings from Seattle, Washington, in the heart of the great Pacific Northwest. I'm Jason Rigdon, and you are listening to the Podcast of Mystery, the show that always leaves you with more questions than answers, the podcast where I talk with extraordinary guests about the paranormal, the strange, and the unknown. On this episode, we have alien contactee and U.S. presidential candidate Alix C. You may remember him from that UFO rally for disclosure in Washington, D.C. that didn't happen back in July. He has a pretty amazing story to tell us and some very interesting plans for the future of this country and the world. Speaking of presidential elections, I've been looking for someone to come on the podcast to explain the evidence behind the GOP's allegations of widespread election fraud in the USA. We hear these allegations every day from supporters of former President Trump. States across the USA are passing voting restrictions because of these allegations, yet I can't find a single person to go on the record defending these claims. It's almost like there isn't any factual evidence and the whole thing is just a scheme to fleece global rubes while attacking our fragile democracy. UFOs, Bigfoot, and the JFK assassination are all interesting because there is some anomalous evidence. We've got Polaroids, footprints, and magic bullets. But this election stuff, we don't have anything. It's just the wishful thinking of a bunch of literal losers. What we do have is a near endless supply of internet grifters selling comforting lies to folks with more money than common sense or honor. Lies that just happen to also help the GOP's long-term goals of voter suppression. Lies that excuse fascist violence. Other conspiracy theories are based on some anomalous facts. Baseless ones are not. They're based solely on desire. They're those rather particular conspiracy theories that are desperately looking for any anomalous fact to justify themselves. This is why I refer to claims of widespread election fraud as a baseless conspiracy theory, because the proponents of these theories haven't provided a single shred of verifiable evidence. They can't even seem to show us any anomalous evidence. I've reached out to right-wing podcasters, streamers, and even Republican politicians, but nobody seems interested in explaining these extraordinary claims of widespread election fraud. Although two folks did express interest in debating the issue on this show. But I'm not interested in a debate. We all know how that goes. It will just be the usual spectacle over substance that we've come to expect from the mainstream media and political discourse in general. I just want to hear someone out. I want to hear why folks think the election was stolen. I want to hear your evidence. I'll have some questions, but I'm not interested in arguing. Sure, I have strong opinions. I'm not afraid to share them, and I argue with people online all the time, but that's not what I do here on this show. When somebody comes on this show and says, I talk to aliens, I don't argue with them. I don't try to prove them wrong. I listen, I ask questions, I have a conversation, just like I'll be doing in this very episode with Alix. I want to hear his story and his point of view. That is my goal in this show. I'm not here to win an argument. I'm here to learn what I don't understand. I'm here to find more questions. It doesn't matter if I believe any of the fantastic stories of my guests. What matters is that they believe their stories. What I do here is help my guests share their truths. And I think that's the problem I'm facing with getting someone to come on and explain these conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. There isn't a real conspiracy theory here. There's nothing coherent about it. It's just a collection of seemingly random and unconnected, vague accusations. One week it's Venezuelan voting machines. The next week it's fake ballots from China made of bamboo paper. Then it's tiny secret microchips in the paper. Or whatever happened with those Italian servers supposedly seized by US Marines? Or how about how this whole thing was just supposed to be Trump playing 5D chess to take down the deep state? They can't come on the show and explain their case because it will be completely different in a week. The irrational anger will be the same, but new, wild accusations will quietly replace the old, debunked ones. Maybe next time it'll be gay frogs with space lasers or shape-shifting reptilians. There is no truth here to share or mystery to be examined. It's not even a legitimate conspiracy theory. It's just an endless stream of bullshit designed to fuel imagined grievances. The real conspiracy here is that the Republican Party knows they can't win without cheating. Their policies and ideologies are deeply unpopular in the USA. The Republican Party has only been able to win the popular vote for president once in the last 30 years. Demographic changes will make that even worse. Without aggressive gerrymandering and voter suppression efforts, they will become a permanent minority party. They need to fuel these imagined grievances to justify their direct attacks on our democracy and your right to vote. They will literally do anything they can to remain in power, including attempting to violently overthrow the U.S. government as they did on January 6th. The real truth is that the Republican Party has become an enemy of the people, but the people are too dumb to realize it.
My name is Alix Christopher Toulme Jr., also known by some as St. Christopher the Lesser, or simply as I.O., and I am a 33-year-old U.S. Navy veteran and presidential candidate in 2024.
So what has made you want to run for president? It's a big job and a big endeavor.
Yes, and I'm a very young man. I understand that as a concern for a lot of people. But I'm running for U.S. president in 2024 to finally do what most politicians in the United States are unwilling to do, and that is to end the illegal, systemic, and unconstitutional secrecy regarding UFOs and extraterrestrial life, to initiate first contact or the first open, public, and official diplomatic meeting between mankind and extraterrestrial beings, and to end the old age of ancient and primitive religious systems and to usher in a new age of peace, plurality, and multi-theism.
So do you have any ideas about what the government might know about extraterrestrials right now?
Well, I gave a speech just recently at MacDill Air Force Base on July 9th. As you know, July 7th, 1947 was the anniversary of the Roswell crash in New Mexico. On July 8th, the very next day, the U.S. Air Force stated that they recovered a flying disc or flying saucer on a farm outside of New Mexico in Roswell. And then the very next day, on July 9th, 1947, the U.S. Air Force, in a complete 180-degree reversal of their public statements, stated that the object that was recovered was a weather balloon. And so I believe that the U.S. government has been engaging in a truth embargo by adopting a policy of official denial and high-level secrecy since 1947, which was 74 years ago.
Why do you think they've kept it secret this long?
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons why this secret in particular has been kept secret. And you could look at it from many different angles, from a military standpoint, from a political standpoint, from a religious perspective. I think that one of the primary reasons why this secret has been kept is because the people of Earth, the overwhelming majority of people of the population of Earth have religious or spiritual beliefs. And I believe when you factor in end time prophecies, the biblical end time prophecies, I think that the revelation of this scale and proportion or magnitude would cause a lot of religious pandemonium and hysteria. So I think that the powers that be, whoever they are, whether they be a Luciferian dark axis of power or cabal, or whether they be highly powerful spiritual beings, or even extraterrestrial beings, perhaps they did take over. I mean, there was a UFO flap in the 1950s, early 1950s, 1952. There was a UFO flap over Washington, D.C. So maybe that was the ET beings exerting their power over Washington elites. So maybe behind the scenes, we are secretly being controlled and dominated by extraterrestrial beings. Who knows, Jason?
Yeah. So running for president is a lot of work. What And you seem like you're very focused on this specific topic. What kind of drives that passion? That's a lot of work to do.
Yes, I agree. It's a very heavy endeavor. It's one of the most difficult things you can ever strive to do. But I think one of the reasons why I'm so centered around this UFO ET issue is because I believe that the people of Earth are being kind of kept in a bubble. So I believe the powers that be are keeping this secret for psychological and governmental control of the masses, right? So one of the reasons why they're probably keeping this secret is because this the revelation that we are not alone in the cosmos would effectively burst our bubble and open up the people of Earth to a new cosmic and spiritual reality, which is what the powers that be don't want. They want you dumb, they want you blind, and they want you ignorant. That's their goal, that's their modus operandi. So I really want to push the ending of the secrecy so that the people of Earth can learn about this new cosmic and spiritual reality. And so we can wake up and ascend and become divine beings.
Now, what if the aliens or extraterrestrials, I don't know what the right term would be, want the secrecy to continue?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different points of views on this. Some people believe that, like we discussed earlier, that the ETs may be the powers that be behind the scenes, or we could, or maybe Lucifer, an archangel, is secretly in control of the earth. A Luciferian cabal of people who are satanic. Uh, all I know is that if ET beings want the secrecy to continue, then why are they violating our airspace with impunity? Is it because they view the earth as their territory, perhaps? Or maybe they're trying to wake up the people of earth and show us that they are here and that they want to help.
So, do you have any personal experience with extraterrestrials? Like, have you had any kind of sightings or any, some people on this show, they've had actual interactions with extraterrestrials, or so they say. You never know.
Yes, in fact, when I was a graduate student in 2012 at Columbia University in New York City, I began hearing sort of a soft, faint, and subtle voice in my mind or in my head. And at first, I didn't really know what was going on. I thought I was developing schizophrenia or perhaps I'm telepathic. I didn't know what was going on. I was hearing voices in my mind. So years later, it was revealed to me by by these entities that I was being engaged by an elite unit of extraterrestrial beings. That they were tasked with observing and monitoring me and all of my mental activity for reasons which they have not disclosed to me.
Oh, so do you have any? So they're actually kind of keeping secrets from you.
Yes, yes. They're very tight-lipped about why they have been monitoring me, um, and they're pretty tight-lipped about where they come from. And but I do know that they are extraterrestrial. That much I do know.
Yeah, because that's going to be my second question is like, well, which type of extraterrestrial is this? It's like kind of doing this. Do you have any speculations?
Yes, I have reason to believe that they are gray type extraterrestrials. Yes, I believe they are gray type extraterrestrials. I've also spoken to mantis type extraterrestrials and reptilian extraterrestrials.
Okay, so you do think there are multiple kind of species kind of out there, or at least visiting here?
I think if you look at the multiplicity of plant and animal life on the planet Earth, and you were to take a fish, for example, if you were to put a fish in a machine, uh, call it an evolution machine, and you were to progress or advance that fish to its highest level of evolutionary progress, then you would get a sentient, intelligent, aquatic being. So I think if you were to take all species of animals and advance them up the evolutionary scale, that is how much extraterrestrial life is out there in the cosmos. Uh, a lot of people might find this comical, but there may even be canine extraterrestrials or feline extraterrestrials. So a lot of people have dogs and cats in their households, and they find it kind of unfathomable that there are sentient and intelligent cat-like extraterrestrials and dog-like extraterrestrials. I think that there are planets out in the greater cosmos where these beings actually do exist.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I wonder, you know, as president, one of the things you said you would do would be to try to initiate kind of first contact. How would you go about doing that?
Well, using my psychic medium abilities, my mediumistic abilities, and also my telepathic abilities, if I was elected as the 47th US president in 2024, my hand would be hot from swearing on the Bible. And the very next thing I would do would be to successfully broker a first contact event. Uh, like I said, the first open, public, and official diplomatic meeting with extraterrestrial or non terrestrial beings. And I would do that right away. So I was thinking maybe we could have it at the UN headquarters in New York City, or possibly Geneva in Switzerland would be a neutral location where we could meet with these ET ambassadors to discuss a historic uh, peace accord, so that our two species or three species or however many species are involved can coexist peacefully in this solar system.
Yeah, that comes to my next question of like, they seem like they're so incredibly advanced. Do you think we have anything to fear from them?
There are a lot of states of mind on this issue. A lot of people, like, for instance, Dr. Stephen Greer, who is the used to be CSETI and the Disclosure Project, and now he's doing Serious Disclosure. I believe he just had a new film, but he's of the mind that extraterrestrial beings are all benevolent, all kind, and all good. I disagree. I think that one of the byproducts of intelligence is the duality between good and evil. So I think if you're an intelligent being, then you have an internal struggle between good and evil, and you could give in to either side depending on free will. So I think that if there are extraterrestrial beings, which I obviously believe there are, I think they could be benevolent or malevolent, depending on the species or depending on the individual. So we have to be careful.
Yes, yes. Well, we have no idea what their capabilities are, even what their motivations are. Do you have any kind of thoughts about why they would even be coming here?
Well, I think that most creationists and Christian fundamentalists believe that the Earth is 6,000 years old. And by the way, I think that Christianity and the book of Genesis represent an old and primitive age of religious systems, but that's besides the point. I think that the Earth is much older than 6,000 years. In fact, it could be many billions of years old, like current scientific models are suggesting. So I think that extraterrestrial beings, given that they have all this technological superiority and might, probably pre-exist humankind or mankind. So I think that these extraterrestrial civilizations are ancient or primordial. So I think that long ago, the Earth was discovered by ancient and highly technologically and spiritually advanced extraterrestrial beings. And since that time, it became sort of a waypoint or a hub for ET beings that were traveling in this sector of space. And I bet that they were astonished by like I said earlier, the multi and animal life on the earth. And I think that the earth may even be some sort of a project by a creator. I believe in a divine creator. I think if you were to deduce all things back to square one, you get a divine creator, an architect, an engineer. And I think that this planet may have been engineered by a creator to unite all of the people of the cosmos in the spirit of peace and plurality. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do as well. I'm trying to unite the people of Earth and beyond in the spirit of peace and plurality. Why plurality? Because there is a plurality of ideas, of people, of races, of religions. So I think that the best way to create unity is to sort of have a cohesion between unity and plurality. And like I said, I think this may have been some sort of a, a project by an ancient builder race. Perhaps it was angels or angelic beings, because we have it all right here on the planet Earth from A to Z, every animal species you can think of. And some of them look quite extraterrestrial, like an octopus or a stingray. So maybe this is some kind of a cosmic zoo.
So we've heard stories from other presidents, or rumors about other presidents, like Carter and I think Clinton and Trump, where they wanted to get information about extraterrestrials from the intelligence community. And the stories go that they came back and said, oh, there's nothing there. I'm wondering what you would do, because you have a different perspective with your telepathic contact. If they came back and told you, oh, there's nothing there, you think differently.
I think within the United States government itself, there is a deep state. And the deep state, some believe, is sort of like a shadowy aspect of the US government that does all of its dirty work. And they are probably the ones that are keeping this reality on ET life a cosmic secret from the public, from the American people. So most presidents, when they get elected, are not told the 100% unfiltered truth, because the deep state don't know how that particular president would react. And they don't want to startle the public. They want to keep everyone in a bubble so that people go to work each day, buy gas, pay taxes, and vote for their candidate. And they very much want to keep a status quo. I guess what makes me different as a candidate is that I'm not, how do I put this? I'm not unaware of what these beings are. I have experience with them. So since I have been in telepathic contact with these ET beings, I believe I'm the prime person, the prime candidate to get us a first contact, first open public and official diplomatic meeting that would change the world forever.
It seems like one of those changes you kind of talked about was kind of religious and spiritual. What would that look like in this kind of spiritual revolution?
Yes, it is that. It is a spiritual and religious revolution. And I think, as I said earlier, I think Christianity was created for an old and primitive age. I don't think that the book, the Bible, is the only source of truth. I think we should create a new Holy Bible that is all inclusive and that does not disparage other religious faiths. I think that if we were to have some kind of a first contact meeting with ET ambassadors, that we could sort of engage in a cosmic information exchange. Like, hey, you tell us what you know about the spirit world, and we'll tell you what we know about the spirit world, and we'll meet in the middle. And we'll write a new Holy Bible that contains all of the new information obtained from ET beings and also from spirit beings or higher order spirits. And the people of the earth will work in conjunction with AI, spirits, and extraterrestrial beings to create a book that we can all agree on, not just 33% or one third, but all people. I believe that we should build a one world religion. Now, I know that's a buzzword for a lot of Christians and conspiracy theorists. Oh, New World Order, one world religion, Antichrist. No, I am anti Christian because I firmly believe that we can build a new age religion that is all inclusive for all people, and we can do it for the betterment of mankind. Wouldn't it be, imagine a world where we had consensus on important faith issues and we were in agreement on spiritual matters? I mean, we would be one family. Okay, so New Age Crew, the New Age Center for Religious Unity, or New Age Crew, was founded in 2020 to create new and innovative solutions to religious disunity and sectarianism. Religious disunity and sectarianism are the very root cause for all of the religious wars and conflicts on the planet Earth. So we thought it would be a good idea to get some people together to brainstorm ideas on how to break the pattern of disunity, division, and sectarianism, and to create a one world, peaceful, utopian society. That's why I created Omnigian. Omnigian is a new age, multi theistic religious system that traces its roots from the philosophy of omnism, or the belief that no one religion is the only source of truth, but that religions can be found within all, but that truths can be found within all religions. So, Omnigian, basically, we believe in one prime or universal creator and many major and minor gods or deities. So, the way this works is we think that any religion who labels other gods of the earth pantheon or possibly there may be other gods out in the greater cosmos that are unknown to the people of earth or to our human spiritual hierarchy. And we believe that labeling them as false gods, demons, or fallen angels, or as fake, imaginary, or mythological beings is sacrilegious. So we wanna create. There's sort of this world, this war. Between monotheism and multitheism, and we believe that multitheism or plurality is the future of the planet Earth. That's why I created Omnigen.
Are you worried at all about pushback from kind of the establishment religions? They have a lot of power that would be kind of taken away from them.
Yeah, and um, I believe that the Christian hegemony will eventually start to dwindle. That once we get the revelation that alien life is real, and once we get first contact, whatever form it takes, that people will say, well, hey, maybe the Earth isn't 6,000 years old, and maybe the world is not ending tomorrow, and maybe we do have a future, and maybe they will start to think, well, hey, maybe the Bible isn't the only source of truth, and maybe we do need to adapt, or maybe we do need to accept other New Age religions or other possibilities. So I don't know. Oftentimes, revolutionaries and spiritual leaders don't have a very long shelf life, and I understand that. I also think it's ironic that my initials are AC, and a lot of people are fearful of an end time antichrist. So I understand that, but I would say that I am anti Christianity because I believe it represents an old and primitive age, and this is a new age, and we need to create a new Holy Bible. We need to create a new age religious system. And all the people of earth need to unite in the spirit of peace and solidarity. And we need to create a one world republic, not a totalitarian satanic regime. No, a one earth republic, a democracy.
So a presidential campaign takes, ton of work, like we said. What are you doing right now to kind of reach people?
Yeah, well, it's still very early. It's 2021. The election is not until 2024. I believe in November or August is the primary. So I'm trying to tweet as much as possible, send as many emails as possible. Um, but honestly, I don't expect to win. And that's shocking coming from a presidential candidate that they don't expect to win. I just think that um, uh, a person with my views trying to change religion, trying to change um, politics. I'm a revolutionary thinker, and I don't think the people of Earth or of the United States are ready to understand what I'm trying to tell them. So I just want to get my message out there so that people can listen and kind of uh, contemplate on these things so that when disclosure or first contact, whichever comes first, does happen, that they'll be ready. I don't expect to win. I don't.
Well, thank you for your honesty. I mean, that's got to be difficult to say. I'm kind of curious how people in kind of like the UFO community have reacted to your efforts.
Well, I tried to get I was planning a UFO rally and protest at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. Now, it was canceled because it was inclement weather that day in D.C., and I was having some setup and delivery issues with the company. So, unfortunately, it was canceled. I know a lot of press members were set to be there, but I couldn't get any support from the UFO community because they all thought that I was a religious extremist and a nut job. So maybe they just don't understand my message. Maybe race is a factor as well. I don't know. But I really want to hold a UFO rally on All Souls Day, November 2nd, 2021, on the Ellipse nearby the White House. I'm going to reschedule this event, get a new permit, and I'm not going to invite anyone. I don't want anyone in the crowd. It's just going to be a stage, a podium, and some US flags, and we're going to live stream it on YouTube, and that'll be it. Because I don't believe that this is why I'm not sending any invites and I'm not doing any ad campaigns, because I don't think people will come out to support me. I am sort of a pariah and an outcast, and it kind of reminds me of the old saying that no prophet is accepted in their own land. And I think that people have kind of got together and sort of got in a huddle and said, we're not going to support this guy. In fact, we're going to ignore him until he goes away. And I think that's what's going on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. I am sort of an untouchable, a pariah, and an outcast. And I guess that's what I get for trying to change the world.
That's so very strange because, there are so many different ideas in kind of this UFO community. It's strange that people would set certain lines and be like, oh, this kind of stuff is off limit. But I suppose I'm probably being naive. I shouldn't be surprised by this. Do you have any ideas about how you might be able to kind of reach out to these people, or if you just kind of given up on this idea that they would cooperate or that you have shared goals?
I think the fact that I'm running for US president and I'm this revolutionary spiritual leader and UFO activist is historic in itself. I think the fact that I have filed with the FEC and that you can Google my name and it says presidential candidate and here are my views, I think that's historic in itself. And I think that for as long as these people try to discount me or ignore me, it won't work because my message will get out there to the people.
And kind of what about the other side of this, the political side? How have people kind of in quote unquote politics kind of reacted to your candidacy?
Well, I don't exactly know. It's not like I can launch a straw poll. I wish I could. but I assume that people in the political community are kind of, it's human nature. When most politicians have presidential ambitions, let's face it. Let's face it. And the fact that some 33-year-old young third U.S. Navy veteran is trying to bully his way in the political arena, I think ruffles a lot of feathers. But I want to talk for a moment about some of my political goals. I think that we need a new national code of ethics in the United States. Think about this for a second. Try to wrap your head around this. But what if we were to create a new national ethics office called NEO? Maybe NEO would be our savior because I would institute a kudos incentive program. And basically, what that means is that the government would reward citizens for one, safe driving, two, acts of charity, three, acts of heroism, and four, volunteer service, and five, for civil, public, or military service. So the way this would work is, have you ever had a store card like for example, a 7-Eleven card, Jason?
Yeah.
So basically, you get your 7-Eleven card, and each time you make a purchase, you accrue points. And it would be the same way with KIP and NEO, is you would basically be rewarded for being a good citizen, for driving safe, for volunteering at the Red Cross or at the Humane Society, or for joining the military, or for civil service, for joining the Peace Corps. You would accrue points, and you would earn rewards, and the people really get a kick out of this. But you would work up to kudos milestones, and you would gain an official title. So the United States would officially have a nobility. So if you have, let's say, if you have 25 million kudos points, you would have the official title of noble. So you would be a nobleman, and people would call you noble, the noble Jason Rigdon. And if
I would like that.
yeah, you would like that. And so they would be esteemed and honorable. And the very top is exemplary, the exemplary Jason Rigdon.
I don't know if I could ever achieve that, but what other ideas do you have for this country?
Well, I believe we should, there is a lot of secrecy, not just in terms of the UFO phenomenon, but also in terms of technology. I believe that our growth is being stunted by the US intelligence community, who every time an inventor issues or applies for a patent for a new invention, the US intelligence agencies screen it. And if they determine it to be a threat to national security, they will slap it with a seal, and it will never see the light of day. So things like clean energy, free energy, those are being kept under wraps and under guard. And I think we should free up the technology. And I think we should get these inventions out there to benefit society and for the betterment of all mankind. And I think we should put people back to work. We need to rebuild our infrastructure because our infrastructure is falling apart. And we need AI, and computers are taking our jobs. So we need to put people back to work on our infrastructure to rebuild America. Trump has tried it. Biden's doing it, but I will take it one step further with KIP and NEO. Yeah. But it's still very much early in my campaign. I got a lot of new and innovative ideas, and I want everyone to visit www.acforusa.com and www.omnigion.com, OMNIGION, to learn more about Omnigion, which is a New Age multi-theistic religion. It's a New Age future religion of the earth. And I also want them to go to my website to learn about my policies and my agenda for 2024.
Kind of going back to kind of the UFOs and aliens, one thing that we've kind of had a problem with, and I'm sure you face this a lot, is just talking to people about it. People, normal people, they don't want to talk about it. They're not interested in it. They think it's all hogwash. Like, do you have any suggestions or advice for how we can talk to our fellow citizens about this issue?
I think that the majority of the American people are open minded to this reality. I think that when you look at Hollywood films and movies and how much uh, directors like Steven Spielberg and J.J. Abrams are creating movies about aliens and alien life and alien beings, I think that it's kind of opening people up to a new horizon. I think that people are watching this media and thinking to themselves, well, this could really be possible. So I don't think that we need the US president or members of Congress or top military brass to tell us how to act, think, and feel. All right? Because we the people, are not dumb. We know that if there are UFOs flying in our sky, violating our airspace with impunity, and buzzing military aircraft, and flying over nuclear sites, and that technology doesn't belong to us, and it doesn't belong to our adversaries, then they must be ET. I mean, it's not a big jump to say that they are ET. I mean, have you ever heard of Occam's razor, Jason?
Yes, yes.
Occam's razor was developed by a Franciscan friar in the 13th century who created the law of parsimony, which basically states that the simplest explanation is usually the correct one. So if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, then guess what, Jason? It's a duck. Yes. So UFOs are otherworldly, I believe. They fly around our skies as if they were otherworldly, and they exhibit aerial capabilities that seem otherworldly. So if you use logic and Occam's razor, you can deduce that they are not from the Earth. They are extraterrestrial.
I apologize. I should have asked this earlier, but, have you yourself had any sightings or any actual physical contact?
It's funny because any amateur astronomer can point their telescope at the moon and see strange craft flying in and around the moon. I don't know what's going on, whether astronomers and the scientific community are all being paid. I mean, this guy, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's a great physicist, but it seems like every time he is asked about UFOs, he is intentionally spreading disinformation, and he's a debunker. I mean, in the purest sense of the word. Does not keep an open mind, and he is basically just throwing away the baby with the bathwater. That's what's going on here, and so the scientific community is a problem, and the political elites are a problem. If you look at Senator Bill Nelson, who used to be an astronaut, I think he was either an Air Force or naval officer and senator, and now he is the administrator of NASA. If you look at Senator Bill Nelson and the things he's been saying, his public statements, I believe that he is being intentionally facetious on this issue. Everybody knows that NASA is lying to the public. It's not a big secret. They're keeping this truth embargo alive and well. And I don't know how long they can keep this a secret, because for as long as they try, there will be whistleblowers and there will be leaks. So I think right now we're really approaching a point where this is reaching critical mass, and the the truth about the UFO phenomenon is due to be uh, released very soon, if not this year, probably next year. We have Congress members who are talking about this. Adam Schiff, and I believe a congressman from Louisiana, or it may have been Texas. I can't recall his name, but there is a real movement within Congress to hold congressional hearings on UFOs. And I believe if we were to hold congressional hearings, then the truth will come to the light. And actually, I've been running for Congress to promote extraterrestrial disclosure since 2018. Uh, and I also ran in 2020, but I withdrew from both races early because, again, I couldn't gain momentum. But I've been trying to push for congressional hearings on UFOs for a long time. I know a lot of people have, including Stephen Bassett at the Paradigm Research Group, who is a UFO lobbyist, but he's been pushing for congressional level hearings. We had the citizens hearing on disclosure in 2001 and again in 2013. So things are really happening. It's just that because of the nature of our democracy, things work very, very slow. So we have to have patience. But I think that, like I said earlier, that the majority of people in the United States already know, trust, and believe that extraterrestrial life is real and verifiable. We're just waiting for an official pronouncement by the president or by Congress to confirm or validate this reality for us.
Well, I thank you so much for your time today. If people want to learn more about you and your work, where should they go?
Well, they could go to just Google my name. Just Google AC Toulme, Toulme Jr. on Google, and you will find me. Or you could go to www.ac4usa.com. Thank you for having me, Jason. I really appreciate it.
I'm Jason Rigdon, and you have been listening to episode number 25 of the Podcast of Mystery, originally transmitted on Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. If you want more information about me, this show, or my guests, please visit podcastofmystery.com. If you have a guest or a topic that you would like to hear in the show, please email podofmystery@gmail.com. You can also send any feedback or comments to that same address. This audio program is copyrighted by me, Jason Rigdon, in 2021 and is freely available under the Creative Commons Attribution License. And don't forget to leave the Podcast of Mystery a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for listening.